Okay, so I'm sure by now all of you know about Sonic's, well, Dark Age.
When they had a streak of really crappy games and kept making more and more and wouldn't stick to one freaking formula. Just stop!
Yeah, exactly!
And remember when Sega took every bad-rated Sonic game off the shelves?
Yeah? Wait, who are you?
And then remember when they realized their mistakes and actually started making good Sonic games again? Like Generations?
Exactly! Man, those days are over. I hate to say it, I absolutely despise having to say this.
But Sonic's second Dark Age, or whatever you want to call it, has unfortunately begun.
Okay, seriously, why aren't we friends already? Hey there, welcome to Balrog's Game Room, where today we're going to be going over Sonic Boom with the help of, Matt from Tails' channel. Matt, are you okay?
Not really.
You know what, Matt? Look at me. Look right here, Matt.
I'm looking, Waleed. I'm looking.
No, Matt, that's a wall! I'm over here! You know what? I'm gonna fix you right now. We're gonna fix all this. Let's go over Sonic's recent past. See, I even made a checklist for you. So, I came prepared for this travesty. Number 1, Sega can't make a good 2D Sonic game anymore since Sonic 4 Episodes 1 and 2 had some, problems.
Number 2, Lost World had poor design and showed that Sonic Team were pretty confused about what their fans wanted. And even the handheld version, you know, the ones that were consistently good even in Sonic's worst days, is even worse than the console version is pretty bad.
Number 3, Sega decided to ditch a working formula in Generations and Colors that would have jump-started the series again and add a bunch of stupid and wacky gimmicks.
And number 4, you know what happened last time Sega actually listened to their fans? Generations happened, and that was one of the best Sonic games in a long time.
So the Sonic series has been in some real crap lately, and it's about to get worse.
Because today, we're adding a number 5 to my Sonic Doom list, even outsourcing the game to ex-Naughty Dog developers, the people who were responsible for some of the best action games and platformers ever made, and giving them almost 3 years to develop a game, still turned out to be one of the worst action games, and most importantly, one of the worst Sonic games ever made. It's unacceptable. But before we delve into what makes this game so terrible, let's go over the things it gets right.
If it got anything right.
You hold your mouth for a second, mister. Okay, so first off, the writing and cutscenes are actually pretty funny. You got Tails acting like the brains of the group, Amy with her voice of reason, Sonic just being an arrogant prick as usual, and Knuckles, well, he's a special one.
Amy, Knuckles, go left! Give me a sec. I'm on it!
But the personalities in the game are nothing like the ones in the TV show, which is what the game was truly advertising. Even the story feels off, and in a completely different style. Though this is understandable, because the games in the TV show had different writers, but I feel as if the game just did it wrong. Sonic and his gang accidentally free the evil Lyric from 1,000 years imprisonment, and find crystals in different areas to power a machine to stop him. But that's it. The story never goes into depth, never explaining the history of this new world. It just expects you to know what you're getting into. The ancients that imprison Lyric, barely explained. The new characters such as Cliff, barely explained. The crystals themselves, barely freaking explained. You just collect them, like that's it. I wouldn't even consider this a prequel to the TV show, considering again, it tells us very little about the universe we are currently in. On top of that, Metal Sonic and Shadow return, although in very, very, very shallow and disappointing forms. Shadow literally appears for a boss fight for none other than the reason of being a dick. Metal Sonic is kind of understandable, considering he is a minion of Eggman. But hey, back to the personalities of the main 4.
Now, I know a lot of longtime fans will be upset with these character changes, but honestly, I got used to Team Sonic really quickly, and the new characters they added fit in with their designs really well. It's funny, their dynamics are great.
Except for Knuckles.
How do we know we can trust you enough to tell you that Sonic and Tails are a few levels down? What?
And despite the constant bugs, well, you know what? We'll go over the bugs later. Second off, all 4 characters are fun to play as. I mean, yeah, it's a kid's game, so it's not exactly the deepest system in the world, but it's fun to experiment with different types of combat strategies. As you get further in the game, you'll get power-ups that you can assign to each character, so you can fine-tune your party to your own playstyle. Not to mention there's weapons you can find on the map to use, and some of them can be really useful and provide a change of pace from just mashing the attack buttons. Levels also cater to playing as multiple characters, so if you're not a fan of triple jumping with Amy, you could climb a wall with Knuckles. The AI also really didn't get in my way that much and did what they were supposed to do, so there's not many problems on my end from that. The character system is decent and it works well for what it does.
Balrog, I'm going to have to disagree.
Excuse me, this is my review.
Our review.
Who is this guy?
The combat in this game feels sluggish and boring. Honestly, I've had a lot more fun with the Werehog from Sonic Unleashed, which had some sick combos and fun tricks up his sleeve. Sonic and Friends and Boom have very small combos, all with which you just press a button. Enemies take way too long to defeat, and they come in groups. Too many groups. It really just slows you down from actually progressing in the game, which is what I wanted to do the entire time. If we're talking about platforming, then sure, the characters are different in each of their regards.
You walk into my review, insult my intelligence on games?
What intelligence?
You know what? You're poopy face, and I hate you, and your opinion's wrong, you freaking frick!
Well, your OC Sonic characters suck, and they have no personality. Oh. What did I just do?
Man, that's too far. You take that back. How dare you talk about Lotion the Hedgehog and hand sanitizer the echidna like that? I am gonna downvote all your DeviantArt posts. You know what, Matt? I'm gonna let the viewers decide that. Who do you think is right, me or Matt? Let us know in the comments because I think we both have valid opinions. And I respect your opinion, Matt. And I respect you as a person.
Even if I don't agree, I respect your opinion too.
You wonderful man, I would shake your hand if I could. So does this mean we get to make more OC fanfictions later?
Dude, I'm gonna put this lightly. Your characters suck.
Hey, frick you, man! So we may have said some good things about Sonic Boom so far.
I haven't.
But it's too bad that literally everything else in this game is garbage. Like, you think I'm exaggerating, like, oh, Balrog, there's gotta be more than 2 positive things in this game. I wish I was exaggerating. I've never played a game in my life where this has happened. Not Sonic and the Black Knight, not Shadow the Hedgehog, not even Sonic 06. In some ways, we are entering new territories of bad in the Sonic universe. So without further ado, let me show you how Sonic Boom got every page in the action-adventure genre wrong. Now I'll start with the obvious. This game is a freaking technical mess. Apparently Boom runs on CryEngine 3. I feel like there's a tear joke here somewhere. Which is capable of this on an Xbox 360, but here, there's times where textures on things will just render on one side but not another, there's absurd pop-up and blinking in cutscenes, and overall, it just looks like a PS2 game. Like seriously, here's Jak 2 Remastered, here's Sonic Boom. The difference is Jak 2 came out in 2003! And the technical problems don't stop there. I noted many times where the frame rate nearly halved, the co-op kills performance to the point that they had to get rid of character shadows, the camera is an absolute joke and gets stuck on crap all the time, and the bugs. Oh my god, I finally get to talk about the bugs!
Hey, I got this.
Why you gotta take the fun out of everything? Why?
Okay, so 3D Sonic games have had their share of glitches, and most are, you know, pretty hilarious. You know what they say, it's not a Sonic game if you can't clip through walls, but in Sonic Boom, they mostly consist of falling off the map, unreachable enemies, or, hey, Knuckles, you got a little something on your... But I will admit, there's this one Knuckles infinite jump glitch that actually is pretty fun to mess around with. You can skip 3/4 of the game if you really wanted to, and it gives you a bunch of beautiful photos to post on Miiverse with. So if you like breaking games, Sonic Boom's gonna be a freaking wonderland for you. Especially the one time where I was walking through the hub world and it didn't fully render. Like, that's bad.
Anyway, long story short, Sonic Boom's gameplay looks and feels like garbage. But you see, besides Sonic 06, which is widely known for being the worst Sonic game in the series, and Sonic Boom being in different genres, the former is mostly a bad game due to its bugs. I mean, people can argue that the whole reboot idea and the princess kissing roadkill was a bad idea, but if it had more time, 06 could have been an alright game. Sonic Boom's problems, however, are also in its fundamentals, which in a way make the game worse than 06 because it is a train wreck of clashing design choices that not only fail to resemble the Sonic we know, but fail to come out coherently as a game. So, I'll show you what I mean. One of the big problems Boom has is that the level design is just awful. What's that? You'd like all your levels to be caves and mines and fetch quests? Well good, cause Sonic Boom's right up your alley. Anytime you're not outside in this game, it just feels so drab with really dark and boring corridors. And then when you have speed segments, the so-called homage to Sonic games, the game's scope looks really nice. Until the frame rate starts taking a hit.
I love playing Sonic Dash, but the bad thing is that Sonic Dash runs smoother than the speed sections from a next generation console. That's bad! You know what they always say, gotta run at 15 frames per second.
It's just like for every neat idea these developers added to the gameplay, they complemented it with a huge problem that would just cancel out any fun I'd have with it. Running on water is really cool until you try turning and control like a tank, and clip on walls. Shooting with a tank is alright, until the missiles not only attack you, they attack the frame rate. Having such an expansive world hub is really nice, until you realize there's almost nothing in it and doesn't need to be anywhere near as big.
Fun fact, do you know that there's a glitch to make the graphics look better in the hub world? That is just so
Don't say it, Matt, you've said it like 3 times already.
bad! Bad, 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 bad!
God dang it, Matt! Anyway, on top of that, you don't get the map until about 2 hours in the game, so I spent about 20 minutes wondering where the heck I had to go, despite having the objective in the menu. Also, you can't have the map in the gamepad, even though the gamepad is required in single player mode. It's in the main menu.
That's right, folks. You gotta press start and then look at the map.
Oh, and did I mention the map has no indicator of which direction you're going? So have fun opening and closing the stupid thing like 10 times until you figure out your ground. If I am a grown, facial hair growing man that can't figure out my next goal after an hour, how the hell is any kid supposed to do it too? I can't imagine any kid's gonna be able to finish this game without some sort of guide. And that's not the only gamepad problem. They give you this scanner thing that lets you find hidden junk. Oh, I'm sorry. Shinies in different levels of the game. Now this wouldn't be so awful if it worked the way it intended, but no, the devs thought that scanning a bunch of freaking rooms and stopping everything you're doing while scrambling with the terrible camera was a good idea. Oh, and by the way, if you want to 100% the game, there's over 60 shinies that you have to find, so best of luck to you. So moving on, the design isn't the only thing wrong with Boom's levels, it's also the enemies. In previous Sonic games, despite the badniks being robots with animals inside, they had a lot of variety in color schemes and attack patterns, and you know, being memorable enemies. In Boom, you just fight the same robots over and over and over. Or maybe the same robot with a slightly different color and slightly different attack. Or the same enemy with a sword. Okay, you get the idea. Yes, of course there is some variation in enemies, but there's nothing really memorable about them. Combine that with the already drab exterior, and you've got one sleep-inducing and boring licensed game.
You know, kind of what I just said at the beginning of this review. Huh? Combat being
Shut
boring?
up, Matt. I'm not admitting anything to someone who doesn't appreciate my fan characters. Unsubscribed.
Oh, yeah, by the way, I hope you didn't like the health system in previous Sonic games, because that's botched up too. Instead of getting 100 rings for an extra life, 100 rings is your max ring count. In Boom, the more you get hit, the more your ring count goes down. So it's pretty much used like a life bar. A broken, pointless life bar. You see, the developers forgot to add something that is a fundamental in action games. Temporary invincibility when you get hit. In other words, when you get hit in Sonic Boom, you can get hit multiple times by anything, especially in boss battles. And it's infuriating that you can lose half of your health from something so cheap.
Oh, and did you think you could increase your max life like in other action games? Well, guess what? You have to connect to the 3DS version, a $40 game to do so. Luckily, this isn't the problem though because of another broken design choice. There are no lives in Sonic Boom. You have infinite lives. In fact, when you come back in any sort of battle, the enemy has the exact same amount of damage before you died. In other words, there's almost no consequence in this game for being killed. And I get it, the game's meant for kids, it's for a different age group than previous entries, but outside of battles, the worst consequence the game has is going back maybe 2 minutes to a checkpoint. It just makes the game even more sleep-inducing and incoherent. So, there you go. Boring level design, terrible bugs and performance, unmemorable enemies, broken ring and health systems, terrible gamepad implementation. This game does almost every single thing wrong. But is there enough potential buried under all of this crap to save it? And is it really the worst Sonic game of all time? Well, let's get straight into the review and See?
You know, I think we've agreed with my opinions and we've come to a similar verdict.
Oh, I'm sorry. What's the name of the show again? Can you remind me?
The gameplay, oh my god, what happened here? As we said earlier, the game has some great ideas, but they're buried under a bunch of terrible and rushed design choices. I hope you like buttons and springboards and a bunch of useless, stupid rings, because that's literally half of the game. I feel like the gameplay could have actually been alright, at least for a licensed game, if the team had another 6 months of development time. And who knows, maybe a patch will come that fixes all these problems. Though I doubt it, because Big Red Button went super silent on their Twitter right before the game came out. But in the game's current alpha-like state, it's getting an awful from us.
Next up is visuals, and you know what? I think examples speak louder than words here. Let me show you the tech demo from the devs, Big Red Button, that they made last year. Now let me show you some screenshots the PR released. Now, let's look at some of Boom's amazing concept art. And now let's look at the final game. Oh my god. As Matt said earlier, if a patch comes and fixes the majority of these bugs, and in its current state it might just need a whole new game if they want to do it, then the game would be passable for a licensed game. But in its current state, almost all of Sonic's games from the past 6 years or so have had better graphics and performance, so... awful.
Third up is sound, and ooh, it's not good. If there's something that Sonic games have almost always nailed, no matter how trashy the game is, it is the soundtrack. And Sonic Boom has stock orchestra sounds. In some scenarios, it does work well, but it's just so slow and generic that it actually kinda had a lullaby effect on us. However, for the great voice acting this game has, which is some of the best voice acting in a Sonic game, characters never shut up. There are many one-liners that don't really come off as funny, even for that younger audience they're striving for. And the many voices drown the already generic music with their annoying dialogue. This isn't the voice actors' fault either, but rather the script writers. The voice actors just go in and do their job, and they don't really have too much of a say in what happens, so don't blame them. Oh yeah, one more thing. Sometimes, the sound decides to literally glitch out and scream in your ear. Listen to what I encountered at one point. Soothing. We'll go ahead and give sound an awful.
Fourth up is length, and for $40, I guess it's alright. The main quest is about 6 hours, and the side quests are around 4, so if you want to 100% the game, which I strongly do not recommend doing, it'll last you a little longer. And you can glitch around for a while, I guess. There's also an extreme mode the second time around, and a 4-player challenge mode if that's your thing, but to me, they're not worth your time. For kids, you are getting your money's worth, but in my experience, it's just getting an okay. In conclusion, in its current state, Sonic Boom fails on almost every possible level.
It fails as a Sonic game.
It fails as an action-adventure game.
It fails as a licensed game, and a kid's one at that.
And most importantly, it failed to capture even a glimpse of the excitement that was shown in the first trailer. Though honestly, if I was a little kid and played this, I know that parts of it would suck, but I'd probably still play it for the cutscenes. That said, if I were a kid, there's a bunch of Sonic games that while aren't very good, are more entertaining to play than this garbage, including Lost World on Wii U, as much as I dislike it. Sonic Boom Rise of Lyric overall may not be the worst Sonic game ever, but is by far the most drab and boring, which in a way will have it remembered as the worst for some people. You won't be angry or screaming while playing it, you'll be upset at Sega for thinking this was acceptable to release, and then promptly fall asleep. Oh, and by the way, the end of Boom hints at a Sonic Boom 2's coming, so if you really don't want that to happen like I do, at least by Big Red Button, speak with your wallet and don't buy this game. If you really want to see how bad it is, rent it or buy it used, but make sure Sega doesn't get a cent of your money.
From almost every possible standpoint, this game came out pretty half-baked. I feel that Big Red Button came into this treating it as a cartoon licensed game, and this is what they failed with the most.
Despite some potentially good parts in this game, Sonic Boom overall gets an awful from us.
Well, Matt, I guess there's only one thing left to do.
What's that? Cry ourselves to sleep?
No.
Go back to our anti-Sonic fan forts for all eternity?
No.
You still want to write some fanfics?
That's for later, but there's something more important.
Wait, do you want to sing the thing?
Now that's why I think you're so relatable. Oh god, no, I can't even do it.
If you're strong, you can fly.
You can reach the other side of the rainbow.
Oh my god, we're so out of sync. Let's keep...
It's alright. Take a chance, cause there is no circumstance that you can handle. When you use your mind, Sonic boom, Sonic boom, Sonic trouble keeps you running faster.
Sonic boom,
Sonic boom.
What?
Save the planet from disaster.
You okay? I can't. You were literally. What are you doing? Oh god! Matt, the game got a 1 gig patch. We gotta play it again. We gotta play Boom again.
No!
No! You know what? Maybe it's not that bad. You know, maybe they fixed the game. They had like 2 months, right? You know, we're gonna try this right now. Let's try this again.
How cute! You need your friends to save you.
Why don't you come down here and find out?
They are doing a lot of damage!